Hey guys, it's Cimorelli here. Welcome to my channel. This is my second channel. You probably know me from my main channel, which is Cimorelli, the band that I'm in with my sisters. On this channel, I make videos about pregnancy, eventually motherhood, motivational, inspirational stuff, marriage, and life advice. Today's video is a girl talk advice Q&A made up of questions from you guys submitted on my Instagram story. If you want to follow me on Instagram, the link is in the description. It's always hard to remember what the link is in. The link is in my bio, the description. Also, I'll be linking my private personal growth community that I just started. It's a group on Facebook. And it's gonna be really cool. I'm not gonna say all the things it has in it yet because I'm still making up more and planning more of it, but it's really cool already. I have some really cool ideas for it. So if you're interested in self-improvement, I always mix all these words together. Self-improvement, personal growth, personal development, is that the word I'm looking for? Join that. Yeah, okay. I wanna say pregnancy brain, but also lack of sleep brain. Yeah. Okay, so let's jump in and let me grab your guys' questions. Okay, so advice questions. Some of these questions, I was a little confused because there was no question in them. It was just like a statement. So interesting, but I think I picked out some good ones. Oh, and I want to say that I am gonna be using like vague terms when I talk about certain things that are more like adult or mature or whatever, because I don't know what first of all, I don't know what I'm like allowed to say on YouTube or like what makes you like demonetized or puts your channel in a weird place. I don't really know. So I'm gonna be really vague. And also because I don't know if there's like kids watching this who like don't know what I'm talking about and maybe don't need to know what I'm talking about yet. But I do wanna say that in real life, I believe in not using vague terms and using the most like straightforward terms for things, so that it's not like you're ashamed of what you're talking about and you're not adding to like the stigma, especially of talking about women's bodies or like women's issues, whatever it is. So I do believe in talking very straightforward and blunt about things, but I will be being very vague today. That's not how I prefer to be, but I just want to put that out there so you guys, if you know, you know. If you're old enough to know what I'm talking about, you'll know what I'm talking about, but I'm gonna be pretty vague. So let's jump in. First of all, I got like a wide variety of age ranges. Like, for instance, the first question, puberty is really hard, especially at the age I am. Any advice? And then I got people who are way out of puberty. So I'll just start with the puberty question, jump in there. And then I think most of the questions are like older. Well, there's not, okay. Any advice is the question. Puberty is really hard. Any advice? If you're going through puberty and you're watching this, but I think most of you are not watching this in puberty because I think you're a little bit older, but if you happen to be, it is a really confusing time because your body is like, I want to say like on fire, that's not what I meant, like overwhelmed with hormones and all these things are changing and you're like, I'm not a girl, not yet a woman. You're just like, why is everything changing? Why do I feel weird? Like, why am I getting moody? Or why is this happening? Or when is this gonna happen? Or why is it happening to my friend and not to me? Or why is it happening to me and not my friend? All these different things are happening. Everyone has their own journey and their own timing, and you don't have to have everything happen at the exact same time as your friends, even though it'll feel really difficult sometimes, like why is this not happening for me when it's happening for my friends? But just trust me, it's gonna be okay in the end. You're gonna get wherever you're gonna go. I was a really late bloomer, so I was just so late on everything happening in puberty, so like later than all my friends, that it was just kind of weird for me. I was like, okay, TikTok, anything gonna happen anytime soon? So I would say just go easy on yourself and don't think that you need to be exactly like all of your friends or that there's anything you actually really need to be. Like, you don't have to look a certain way or act a certain way or be at a certain stage or anything. Like, there's no rules for you. There's no rules for being a woman or whatever you would call yourself, a girl, a teen, whatever, but you're going into womanhood. There's no rules. And it feels like there's a lot of rules, like you're supposed to be looking like a certain thing or acting like a certain thing, but really there aren't rules. So don't put so much pressure on yourself and just know that it's gonna be kind of like a wild roller coaster, but things are gonna chill out as you get into your 20s, especially when you get to like your mid-20s and your brain chills out a lot more, things are really gonna chill out. So don't worry, it's not gonna be like this forever. Take a deep breath and just ride the roller coaster. It's gonna be wild, but don't put pressure on yourself to think you need to be like everyone else. How to get over someone. Okay, so I had a breakup when I was 18, 19. And I was really into him. I was so not over him at all when we broke up. And I actually got over him really, really well. I went to Barnes & Noble at the time, the bookstore, and I found every book I could possibly find on breakups and moving on and stuff because I was so desperate. I was like, how do you get over someone? I'm drowning. Like, I literally felt like I was dying. Like, my journal entries were dark. And I was like, I would wake up every morning and be like, we broke up. And it would like hit me again. And I would feel like I couldn't eat. Like, it was really dramatic, guys. It was really dramatic. But that's what it feels like when you're a teenager. Things feel really dramatic. And I'm not going to invalidate your feelings because I know it felt horrible at the time. So, well, I don't know if you're a teenager, but either way, breakups are intense no matter what age you are if you really can't get over that person. So how to get over them? For me, this worked really well. Like fully expressing my feelings and really expressing the negative and the positive. So tons of journaling, tons of talking it out, tons of expression, just tons of walks, listening to songs that got my feelings out. So the key was to really go through all of your feelings, major key, all of them. So you go through how sad you are, listen to sad songs, write about how sad you are, all of that. Go through how mad you are. Get mad, like be mad that he never bought you lunch and you bought him lunch all the time or whatever it was. Like let yourself get mad if you're mad. You probably are mad about some things. Let yourself be scared about the future or whatever you're scared of. Let yourself feel those like regrets or whatever it is. And then go through the happy things, like mourn the happy times. Like I'm sad I won't have this happy time anymore. Or I'm sad about like he was really great about this thing or that thing. Like feel the happy things that you're gonna miss and feel all the negative things too. Don't just focus on the negative and don't just focus on the positive. I found that when I've done both of those, the negative and the positive, I was really able to get over him in a really healthy way, I think. Should I be worried if I skip my period for more than 2 months as a 15-year-old? Well, should you be worried? I don't know, but should you talk to your doctor? Yes. You should definitely talk to your doctor if you're skipping your period or anything. Like, I know some things are normal when you're like a teenager, younger, whatever, but I am not a doctor. But a lot of you guys are asking me things because you're scared to talk to your parents or a doctor. See, that's a problem. You can be scared. I understand it's difficult to talk to people about things like that, but like you can only be scared for so long and like not reach out to a doctor about your own health. Like at some point you got to realize I need to just be brave and put myself out there and take charge of this. I know you're only 15, so I'm not going to put all that pressure on you, but at some point you got to realize like I got to take my health into my own hands and I need to be able to talk to a doctor about my health issues, whatever. Okay, here's an older question. I have a blood clotting disorder too. What is it like going through your pregnancy with it from the start? Okay, so I have a blood clotting disorder. Well, I have 2 blood clotting things, protein S deficiency and factor 8. And so I'm telling you my experience. Basically, a lot of women take baby aspirin, like the low dose aspirin, from the beginning of when they're trying to conceive. I didn't do that because we didn't know I had it yet, so I might be doing that next time. And then they take a blood thinner, not everyone, but I do. So I inject it in my stomach, and there's not really that much different from anyone else's pregnancies except for that I'm taking aspirin and the blood thinner every single day, and that I will probably have to be induced earlier because of issues with the placenta later on. But I mean, injecting a shot into my stomach at night, every night, and getting bruised from it and being in pain is not enjoyable, not gonna lie. But it's really not the worst thing. So it hasn't been that different for me. Not too much else to say that. What was your worst date? Okay, this is not advice, but I want to answer anyway. My worst date was this guy. Okay, I don't even know what I was thinking as a teenager, guys. Teenagers are wild. No, well, that's not offensive. Teenagers are wild, okay? Like, I didn't know what I was thinking. I was only like 17. So I was like, oh, I like too many bad boys. I need to like a good guy. So when a good guy gives me a chance, I need to really give him a chance. So I classified this guy as a good guy in my mind because he wasn't doing anything outwardly bad that I could see. I don't know what I was thinking. It's like, I gotta give him a chance. And he was really unpleasant and like bitter and not fun to be around. But I was like, oh, he's a good guy. I have to give him a chance. So I decided I was gonna go on a date with him. And I was like, oh, can I bring like one of my sisters? And you can like bring a friend or something. So I brought Catherine, which was so not it. And he brought some friend who was nothing like Catherine's type at all. Did I really bring Catherine? That's wild. That is so wild. I've never done that any other time in my dating career. And I did not want to go so badly that I threw up before I went on this date, okay? And I never throw up out of stress, so I was really stressed. Okay, guys, sorry. My ribs are like driving me up a wall, like trying to kill me right now. So I've been trying to like, casually adjust myself. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm just sitting here casually, but like I can't do it. So I just have to move. I have to do this like maneuver. Pregnancy. My ribs hurt so bad. My chiropractor thinks it's because of scoliosis, which I just kind of figured out really that I have. But yeah, side note. Anyway, then I went on the date with him and it was horrible. He was not fun to be around. He was kind of rude, honestly, and it wasn't enjoyable and I hated it. And then I never talked to him again. But I was a teenager, okay? What do you say to a friend you've been growing apart from? Well, I assume you mean if you want to like, oh, my ribs. I assume you mean if you want to like reconnect. I'm trying to find a way that I can open up my ribs so it doesn't hurt so much. If you want to reconnect with that friend, I would say, hey, I would love to talk to you or something, and then start a nice conversation, and then say, you know, I noticed that we've been growing apart a lot lately, and I really value your friendship because X, Y, and Z, and I want to know, like, is there something that I did or said or problem you have with our friendship that we could like talk through or anything like that? Because I would really like to reconnect if that's what you want also. And they might just be like, I don't want to, and you have to be okay with that. Or maybe they'll bring something up and you guys can talk about it and reconnect, but it's not a guarantee. But put yourself out there and see what you get. How do I make friends that I really connect with? Well, two things. I would say to connect with anyone else, you have to connect with yourself, first of all. If you're so disconnected with yourself, like your emotions, you're not gonna be able to connect with anyone else on an emotional level because you can't even get in touch with your own emotions. That's how we connect with people. So be in touch with yourself. Number two, be yourself. Like that, when people say that, I'd be like, what does that mean? You know, when you're around people and you find yourself censoring yourself, like, oh, I don't want to say that because people might think I'm weird, or I don't want to tell them that I like that because what if they think that it's weird that I like that? Or, oh, maybe I should say this differently so that I look cooler or whatever you're thinking. I don't know. Don't do that. Just be like, I use the word rip a lot and I say, what the rip? Or I don't give a rip. So I'm going to say it in front of these people. If they think it's weird, that's fine. That's just me. I'm not going to change it to a generic word because I don't want them to think I'm weird. Whatever. Be yourself. And if you're like more quiet, just be like, I'm not going to force myself to be loud. I'm chill and it's fine. Just label yourself as like chill instead of like, I'm awkward and quiet. Just be like, I'm chill. I'm a chill person, you know? Like, have a positive spin on who you are instead of a negative one, which is normally what we do. And be proud of that and put yourself out there. How do you stop comparing yourself with other girls? Well, this is tough because I feel like the media is constantly like pushing this on us, and also Instagram and companies and all this stuff. So it's tough. I understand it's tough. So I'm not gonna say this is easy, and I'm totally like there with you. I know this is hard. It's a choice, not what pops into your head, but what you do with what pops into your head, right? So if a comparison kind of like thought pops into your head, obviously you weren't like, I want that thought, I chose that to happen. Like you didn't choose that. But what you do with that thought is your choice. So you can say, I don't want to compare myself to her. Like maybe you get somewhere and you're like, oh my gosh, her outfit. And you're like, wait, stop. I am proud of myself. I love myself and I don't need to think about anyone else's outfit right now. You can just stop yourself right there and give yourself a different kind of self-talk. Because if you go into that talk and you're like, oh my gosh, her outfit is so much better than mine. I wish I could put together outfits like that. I look so horrible. This is so embarrassing. Everyone's gonna think I'm weird, blah, blah. You're doing that. You're just like going this downward spiral and digging yourself into a hole and making yourself feel horrible. So I would stop and choose something else to think about. And then, you know, maybe if you really don't like your outfits and you're like, I'm not really happy with my outfits, I feel like I don't really express my personality with them, then be like, oh, you know, I want to spend some time over this weekend like looking for outfit ideas and trying on outfits around my house and putting together, well, not around my house, in my room, that's what I meant. And putting together different outfits and seeing like what I think of them. You know, create a solution instead of just sitting there and feeding yourself all these negative things that are just going to make you feel really down on yourself. And don't be down on yourself for having negative thoughts in the first place. It's okay for anything to pop into your head. You didn't choose that. Like I said, you don't choose what pops in your head, but you do get to choose what you do with it. Okay, my friend was mad about not being a bridesmaid and never forgave me. It's been 2 years. I don't know what to tell you because it's been 2 years. Your friend is possibly pretty petty, maybe has some emotional things to work through because that is wild. I don't think she's gonna forgive you. I don't think it's gonna happen. If you've already reached out to her and been like, well, why would you apologize for not asking to be a bridesmaid? I don't even know where to go with this one, but if you already reached out and she's not having it, then I think you should move on because that is wild to hold a grudge for 2 years about that. Like she could have come to you and been like, hey, I was really hurt that you didn't ask me to be a bridesmaid because I thought we were like closer than that. And I was wondering if, you know, there was some kind of like tension or problem in our relationship we could talk about or something. I don't know if she could do that. But other than that, I don't really know what the point is of being like, you didn't ask me to be a bridesmaid. I'm not talking to you for 2 years or whatever. That's wild. Okay. Oh, guys, my ribs and this hair was a little bothering me. My ribs are crying out. What signs do I have to give a boy to notice me? You don't have to give him any signs, but I'm guessing you want to. Eye contact. You can really say a lot with your eyes, just like looking at him and smiling at him and looking away. He should be able to tell. The thing is, he might not have any interest in you, so no matter what you do, if he doesn't have any interest in you at all, and you just keep trying things, it's like, you're wasting your time, might as well focus on something else. But yeah, I would say for me, what I do, we did a podcast episode on this. I don't know if it's on Patreon only or if it's on YouTube, but we did like a Flirting 101 podcast on the Cimorelli podcast. You should definitely watch it. What I would do in the past is like, look at them and like smile a little bit and make them feel like they're welcome to talk to me because I'd prefer it with just me being me. I prefer it when the guy would come up to me. I don't want to do all the work. I did that with my ex-boyfriend and I hated it. I don't want to do all the work. You do some work. So I don't prefer doing all of it and being like going up to him and blah, 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 blah. He can put himself out there and do some of the work too. I don't need to be the only one putting myself out there. That's how I feel. Why do girls feel pressured to look and act a certain way? Because I know I do. Well, why do girls feel pressured to act and look a certain way? Some of the stuff I was saying earlier, like, honestly, could I really boil some of it down to Hollywood is kind of evil, honestly? With some of this content, most of the content you get from Hollywood, which I lived in LA for 5 years and I was in the entertainment industry, so I really really saw a lot, and a lot of it was messed up. Most of those people like making all those movies and shows and everything, like they don't give a rip about you. They don't give a rip about how it's gonna affect you. They just care about how they're gonna make money and be successful and blah, 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 blah. So when people make like movies and shows, and that's what you're really like seeing all the time and where you're getting a lot of your ideas from about what it means to be a woman, a girl, whatever, they're just trying to make it entertaining and like sensational. So they're gonna find sensational, entertaining people and put them in front of you and have these sensational, entertaining storylines. And it's not always gonna be like realistic or helpful to you. It's just gonna be entertaining. And then when you add in like social media and stuff, it just can be really difficult and just create a really negative mindset. Plus, I think it's just like natural human instincts to like compare ourselves to other people to see like where we are at and how we're doing. So it's tough to know why, but the main thing is you don't have to feed into it. Like those things are gonna pop in your head. It's not your fault. It's okay. Be okay. Be like loving and forgiving and encouraging with yourself when that happens, but you don't need to feed into it. How much planning did you put into getting pregnant and how long did it take? How much planning? How can I even like quantify how much planning I actually put in? I think a decent amount of planning. Like I really learned a lot. I will link a book in the description for anyone trying to conceive. There was a book that I read, I don't even remember what it's called, Taking Charge of Your Fertility maybe? I'll link it in the description. And it taught me so much. I read it like later in my marriage. As soon as I read it, I was like, bam, I got it. I get it. And then I got pregnant like 1 or 2 months after reading that book. So it was very informative. And oh, how long did it take? Well, there was a bunch of reasons why I wasn't, not able, but able to get pregnant in the first several months that were like private, kind of health related things. Maybe I'll talk about them in like future videos at some point, but, and like a lot of issues of like Nick being out of town, me being out of town. We were like traveling all the time those first several months. So logistically, like it just wasn't going to work out, but it did take 2 or 1 month. I don't even know. The first time I got pregnant, and then the second time it took 1 month. That's not normal, by the way, I don't think. So don't compare yourself to that and be like, what, it took me longer. I'm pretty sure it normally takes several months to like a year, I think. Your first time, maybe like several months. I don't know. Don't expect it to take as short as it did for me because I don't think it's normal. Have you been nervous? Tell your boyfriend, have you? If your boyfriend that you want to wait till marriage. Well, first of all, you should probably tell him before, ow, my ribs, before he's your boyfriend. I would tell guys I want to wait till marriage like right away, right off the bat. It really helped me out in my dating life a lot. I had a really amazing experience with that. I know a lot of people have a harder time. No one really talked down to me about it, like guys I was dating, I mean, or guys I was interested in. They really didn't talk down to me about it at all. I never really got much negative feedback about it. It really was illuminating. It showed a guy's intention so fast. If he was like, oh, well, how much would you do in this like certain way? Then I was like, those guys never panned out, okay? They really tell you their intentions with like the things they say in the beginning. People always tell you like who they are, what they're, people often, I'm telling you guys this, people, well, I'm gonna say guys for dating, for me, tell you their problems right when they meet you in their own way. So they would let you know they're not into committing, but in their own way. They might not say I'm not into committing. They might just say it in a different way, but you can always pick up on it in the beginning if you look. People like put their problems out there. I don't know why, but they always do in like a low-key way. That wasn't what I was talking about. Was I nervous to tell guys? Maybe in the beginning, but after doing it several times, telling like, going through that conversation, wasn't that nervous. Because I'm not ashamed, or I wasn't ashamed of it. I was like, and you better not make me feel ashamed of it. Because if someone's gonna try to make me feel ashamed of it, you're not gonna be dating me. I can't stop liking this guy. Okay, listen, I know what you mean because I went through that so much as a teenager. Like, why can I not stop liking this guy? I cannot get over him. And what I realize now is that I was using thinking about that guy or the guys, whatever, as a way of like distracting myself from all my emotional issues in life. And like, it was a great distraction. I don't mean healthy, but I mean great, like really effective. It worked really well because I would just not have to think about anything and just dream about the guy. But I was really using it to avoid reality and avoid my own pain. So that's why I couldn't really get over him. That, and also, well, so many subconscious things. I don't want to go too deep into that. But I would say if you're having a problem where you desperately can't get over someone, it's probably telling you that you need to work on your relationship with yourself more, as far as getting to know yourself, spending time with your feelings, respecting your feelings, not putting everyone else's feelings above your own feelings and acting like you're not as valuable as them, stuff like that. And getting real about who the guy really is. Are you like acting like he's way better than he really is? That happens a lot. So if you can't get over someone, you can refer to my earlier advice about breakups, where you go through all the negative and the positive. But if it's someone you didn't really even date, it can be a little weirder. I would say it is telling you you gotta focus on your own life. Like, maybe you're not really focusing on your life at all and you're just focusing on him. Easier said than done, but you'll grow, you'll learn. My ribs. Okay. How do you tell someone that you have too much on your plate to deal with their issues too? That's a great question, because it's something that you should do. I think we often like take on other people's problems and burdens way more than our own, and think that their problems are more important than our own. Like, we need to be there for everyone and ignore our own issues, but that's not true, because you deserve to pay attention to yourself, and you deserve to work on your own issues just as much as anyone else does, or as anyone else deserves you to help them out with theirs. So don't automatically put every single person above you. Also, you're gonna drain yourself so much to the point where you can't really help anyone else at that point. So I would just tell them, hey, and I know this is really hard for people, but I would tell them, I would love to be there for you right now, and I really want to help you out, but this is all I can do. Lay out the only thing you feel like you can do. Like, all I can do is talk to you on the phone tonight. I can't really come over and see you right now or this weekend. I have a lot on my plate and I really have to work on this. I really care about you and I'd love to be there for you, but this is the way that I can be there for you right now in the healthiest way for me. I would say that. Always feeling like when I'm perfect, I'll find someone. Tips. That is a trick. So you're never gonna be perfect. So then are you never gonna find someone? It's a trick. I'm not saying it like that, but what I'm saying is, you don't need to be perfect to find someone. Are you waiting to find someone perfect? No. Do you only love your friends for the fact that they are perfect? No, because they're not perfect. Think about the things you love about your friends or your family members. It's like different things that make them them. It's not their perfection. Nobody cares about that, really. But then we think for ourselves that everyone else cares about that. So I think realize that, and then start working on just being real and putting yourself out there and being courageous enough to really put yourself out there. Okay, let's answer. I picked way too many questions. Now I'm seeing the time. I'm just gonna answer like one or two more. How to stay in a good mood during your period. You don't have to stay in a good mood during your period. And I mean by that, if you're talking about from other people's perspective, you don't have to do a darn thing. Like, if you're in a bad mood, be in a bad mood. But if you're saying you're miserable every time, how can you make it less miserable? I have some advice, but not the best, because I didn't really have that much of a hard time with that. I don't know why, but I got lucky, I guess. I would say you gotta double up on your self-care and like take a nice bath, journal, make a nice meal, clear your schedule a little bit, like do relaxing things. Don't push yourself. Actually allow yourself to relax and be gentle and easy on yourself. I think that's probably the best stuff you can do. Okay, here's a more mature, well, not that mature. What to do if a guy you like asks you for pictures, but you genuinely liked him before. Now I assume you're talking about, what word's gonna use? Explicit content, we'll say that. First of all, it's a really bad idea to send anyone any pictures that are revealing because you don't know what the heck they're gonna do with them. You don't know what the heck's gonna happen. Don't put yourself in that situation. I just have to say, like 100% of the time, I don't think you should do that. I think it's a really bad idea. What do you do if the guy you like asks for them? You genuinely liked him before. I don't really know what your question is. Are you asking how do you respond? Other than that, what are you asking? I would say no thank you. And if he's like, come on, blah, blah, then it's like, excuse me? Why are you crossing my boundaries? I said no. And if he's like, you're boring. That's all you want to do? You want me to send you a picture? That's all you can think of to say to me. That's all you can think of. It's the only interesting thing you can think of right now is something that makes you feel good and me put myself out there and possibly put myself at risk. That's boring, okay? He can think of something better. So don't let anyone pressure you into anything that is unsafe, that you don't want to do, whatever. And don't let anyone step on your boundaries because you are in charge of your life, your body, everything like that. You're in charge, not someone else. They don't get to pressure you into anything like that. So don't let anyone pressure you into that. I'm into a guy, but he's not into me. What do I do? Well, unfortunately, it says unfortunately, you can't do anything about him not liking you. You can't just make someone like you. And, you know, we don't get to control everyone's lives. So I would try to focus on something else during the day. Like, be sad, listen to your breakup songs, like, try to move on, all that. But don't let it, like, consume you. Schedule your days where you actually have other things going on and you can't just sit around and think about him all day because you're working on other stuff. Like maybe you're like writing a song or like painting a painting or like working on your sports or like working on a side business. I don't know. I'm making up random stuff, but you know what I mean. Cooking something new, going on walks, making time with your friends to hang out and whatever. Plenty of options here. Plan your days so that you really have things going on. Like guys, today, look, I'm with no one. No one was here today. Even my husband was out working all day. I had a full day, full schedule. I wish I had less things to do today, but I made myself a full schedule because I had to do a lot of stuff. There's so much stuff you can do on your own if you just make yourself a schedule, a productive schedule. I could have sat around all day and done none of it, but I had some goals I wanted to accomplish. So I created a full schedule for myself. Regretting it a little bit, but it's okay. Anyway, I wanted to get to so many more questions, but I'm a little bit long-winded, I think, for that. So I could do more videos like this or something else. If you guys want me to go into detail on any of these topics, let me know. I really wish I could get to more questions, but this is too long anyway, so we're just gonna stop it here. Subscribe if you wanna follow my entire pregnancy journey and learn more about my life in general. And follow me on social media. The links are in the description, including my new personal growth group, which is a private group on Facebook, which I'm really excited about. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.